This is Rana for On the Reddit Entertainment Blog, coming to another edition of MLB Hotstove of the 2020-2021 MLB offseason, week number 9. Right after this video, Corey Kluber, the former Cy Young winner multiple times, who was with Cleveland and then Texas last year and barely played because he got hurt again, signed a one-year deal with the Yankees. Now, the Yankees, as you know from the last video and on my previous podcast, they spent a lot of money on a 6-year deal for second baseman DJ LeMahieu. And as talented as DJ LeMahieu is, 6 years is a lot, and the money they gave him is also a lot, and the Yankees are building on offense. So they decide, you know what, we'll sign Kluber, who hasn't been healthy the past few seasons, and you can always throw the 2020 shortened season into the trash sometimes for certain players. So they go, okay, fine, we'll sign Corey Kluber. That's how much money we have. And he slots in between Garrett Cole and Severino. Severino's a question mark, and so is Corey Kluber. But that's what the Yankees are going to go out there with their top 3 pitchers. It's a nice move when you don't have many options, but I don't know if Kluber's going to stay healthy. That's the problem. The Dodgers avoided arbitration with Corey Seager, while the Mets avoided arbitration with Lindor and Michael Conforto, and the Cubs avoided arbitration with Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, Wilson Contreras, and newly acquired pitcher Zach Davies. All just standard there. And the Nationals avoided arbitration with their second best player, Trey Turner. The Red Sox have re-signed Martin Perez. He was one of the few pitchers that was healthy for the Red Sox after no Sale and no Rodriguez on their staff, and McHugh opting out before even pitching. So getting Martin Perez back will just hopefully eat innings for the Red Sox, which is what they really need until Chris Sale comes back, until Rodriguez comes back, because those are the 2 best pitchers in their staff. And Eovaldi, who did pitch last year, is also a walking injury, a multiple Tommy John surgery. So I really don't have that much confidence in the Red Sox rotation. The Tigers have signed Robbie Ross, former as Red Sox reliever, Rangers pitcher, Tigers, all these teams. There's 2 Robbie Rosses, not to be confused. But this one is the reliever. The Tigers have signed him to a minor league deal. The Orioles have re-signed their pitcher, Thomas Eshelman, to a minor league deal. I guess just organizational depth because they don't want to pay him the full major league contract. The Cubs did sign Shelby Miller to a minor league deal, and he had pitched this year for the Brewers. He was under contract for the minor league season, but without a minor league season, he didn't play. So for him, it's more of, okay, cool, let's, figure this out. Now, for the Cubs, they have lost pretty much every starting pitcher except for the newly acquired Zach Davies and Kyle Hendricks, and they got question marks about young players in their system. So if Shelby Miller's healthy, he at least will compete for one of the back-end spots, because the Cubs they're not going anywhere, they're not making the playoffs. They just need somebody to pitch innings for them. The Phillies have DFA'd Kyle Garlick. He's a first baseman DH masquerading as an outfielder, so they really don't need him, which makes sense with all the moves the Phillies have made recently that open up a spot with Archie Bradley signing them last week. Then there was this trade where the Padres acquired Joe Musgrove. And Joe Musgrove, if you remember, was part of the Astros trade for Garrett Cole. And Garrett Cole, we all know, is now on the Yankees, but he helped the Astros. So Joe Musgrove was an average pitcher with the Pirates, but the Pirates aren't going anywhere. And their best pitcher, Tyone, has had Tommy John surgery. He's a cancer survivor. Chris Archer got hurt and missed all the season last year. So for them, Joe Musgrove is probably one of the only pitchers they can actually deal to another team, as they're just trying to be bad. So the Padres get him, and they're already getting Blake Snell and already getting Yu Darvish. So it's like, okay, cool, we'll get another pitcher to join our rotation. That's cool, because what really happened was that the Padres last year decided that they were going to get Mike Clevenger. But the problem was with Mike Clevenger, he had Tommy John surgery, and he's going to be out for the entire season. So in this trade for Joe Musgrove, the Padres gave up one of the young pitcher, Joey Lucchesi, who the Mets now get. Now the Mets get a young pitcher that they can use in their rotation. So it's always good that the Mets got themselves involved into that trade, because usually these trades are only 2 teams. But yeah, the Padres now think that a rotation of Yu Darvish and Chris Paddock, Joe Musgrove, Dilson Lamet, and newly, acquired Joe Musgrove, well, it's going to be a great rotation. And I'm going to put a little hole in that. Yu Darvish has battled injury in his career. Blake Snell was the most healthiest pitcher recently. And I'm really going to show that Lamet and Paddock going forward are the best of the best. And I said, Joe Musgrove, he's just an average pitcher. Well, the Pirates get themselves a catcher outfielder, Eddie Rodriguez, pitchers Omar Cruz, David Bernard, Drake Fellows, and a center field Hudson Head. So obviously the Mets did give up one of their players, but in general, the Pirates getting themselves, 5 players, that makes themselves out pretty good for a team not going anywhere. Then the Nationals this week signed John Lester to go with the fact they signed Schwarber. So I said the Cubs losing another pitcher of theirs. The Nationals picked him up. He replaced Anibal Sanchez. He's no longer asked to be an ace, but he could just be the fourth pitcher in that rotation behind Corbin, Scherzer, and Strasburg. That will definitely help the Nationals to get back to the playoffs. Tigers signed Erasmo Ramirez to minor league deal. Knowing the Tigers who don't have great starters or reliever, he'll definitely play in the major leagues this year for them. The Jays signed another Cubs pitcher away from them, Tyler Chatwood, and if he's healthy, he could just be a fifth starter for this team because they traded for a bunch of pitchers at the deadline last year, and they all mostly became free agents. Then the Diamondbacks signed Ryan Butcher to minor league deal. They need bullpen help. The Rangers signed Hunter Wood to minor league deal. They need bullpen help, so maybe those guys will definitely play in the major leagues for them this year. The Blue Jays just signed Kirby Yates to a one-year deal to replace Ken Giles. If Kirby Yates is healthy, he had led the National League in save for multiple years in a row, making the All-Star team. Like, that's good for them to have him. And then the Angels signed Jose Quintana to a one-year deal. Again, the Angels last year, Matt Harvey and the Julio Teheran thing, not really the best. The last couple of years, the Angels pitching staff, like acquisitions, have not been the best for them. They had Trevor Cahill before, etc., etc. So if Jose Quintana's healthy, pitching for his former manager Joe Madden, he'll be a good pitcher to have in the back of the rotation. The Royals, after trying to restart Greg Holland and Trevor Rosenthal's career, which worked out well for them, they're re-signing Wade Davis, who had signed that huge deal with the Rockies, and just they got rid of him. If he can get back to what he is, the Royals have themselves another good relief pitcher or a trade candidate. Then the Diamondbacks signed Chris Davinsky to a deal, and if he's healthy, he was a pretty good reliever for the Astros. So as I said, the Diamondbacks just need to fix their bullpen. Twins signed Jay Happ to a one-year deal. They lost Jake Odorizzi, Rich Hill, and a couple other starters to mate to free agency. So even though Jay Happ's almost 40, he's just going to eat innings in the back of the Twins rotation. That will help them out. The Astros signed Jason Castro to a two-year deal, which is funny because his best season when he made the All-Star team when the Astros were really bad was there, and he's bounced around from team to team. Martin Maldonado, we all know he won a Gold Glove, but he's offensively challenged. The other Astros catchers are more of third-string, fourth-string caliber, no matter who they have. So the best thing is you got at least an average catcher, Jason Castro, an average hitter, to be your starter and to bat the bottom of the lineup. And the Yankees signed Asher Wojciechowski to a minor league deal. When he's been healthy, the Orioles have used him as a swing guy, starter reliever. That will definitely help the Yankees, who are not sure about the rotation, so he could just be organizational depth. Nationals signed Hernan Perez to a minor league deal. Again, they're not sure exactly who's going to play second or third base. It's good to have a utility player like Hernan Perez who's played every position on your roster. The Marlins signed Anthony Bass to a two-year deal after they just signed Ross Deltweiler. Anthony Bass is another guy who, unlike Deltweiler, he never got the opportunity to be a starter on a full-time in the big leagues or even a full-time major reliever because he just bounced from team to team. The Marlins are not sure about any of their pitching staff, really, outside of a couple of pitchers. He could compete for a rotation job or a bullpen spot. The Cubs signed Austin Romine to a one-year deal. After trading Victor Caratini in that Yu Darvish trade, Romine is perfectly suited to be the Cubs' backup catcher and have someone like Contreras take a breather a couple days a week and not overwork them because Romine has been the Yankees' backup catcher, and he was the Tigers' starting catcher this past season, so he's very qualified to be a backup. The Padres re-signed Jurickson Profar to a 3-year deal, which I don't understand, because they went and got that player from overseas, Korean guy. Cronenworth almost won Rookie of the Year, so those are two guys who can play second base. And obviously Cronenworth and the Korean player, they have the ability to play everywhere, and Profar, second base, can play everywhere, but their outfield's kind of set, so it's like, if Profar is just going to become a utility player, I don't know why you give him a 3-year deal. There are plenty of teams that could use a guy like Profar or Cronenworth, so there's definitely not enough at-bats to go around for them. And then the Blue Jays, after signing Kirby Yates, they made a huge splashy move by signing George Springer to a 6-year deal. Now, I'm a huge fan of George Springer. I've always been a fan of him. I remember when he was a young, inconsistent, injury-prone right fielder for the Astros when Dexter Fowler was the center fielder of the Astros. When Dexter Fowler left, they moved Springer over because he's a nice, athletic young player, but he's not the world's greatest center fielder. As I told you, he's an injury-prone right fielder, but he also has missed plenty of time on the team as center fielder. In the past couple of years, he has played some right field and some DH, and he hasn't always played center field because they've had some backups who can play center field. So even then, he hasn't played right field full time the past 2 seasons. He can't stay the healthiest of all the players. So he's in his early 30s, 31, 32 range. If he can't stay healthy and he's at the world's greatest center fielder and you sign him to a 6-year deal, his defense is already in the decline. His offense will eventually start to go into the decline, and your other best player, after Teoscar Hernandez had a good season last year, he also himself played center field and right field and left field over the past couple of seasons. And Gurriel, who's an infielder, who I would have probably tried at third base if Guerrero's going to be your first base to put him back in the infield, he's on your team. You also have Randall Grichuk, who miscasted a center fielder, let alone a right fielder, maybe even better suited as a left fielder. He's on your team. So the question that comes out is, are you going to DH Springer someday? Are you going to DH Randall Grichuk someday? Or are you going to actually let Teoscar Hernandez maybe play center field? So that's the thing. 6 years is a lot for a declining guy. And here's the thing. He's not a leadoff hitter. So his stats of hitting all those leadoff home runs, that's great and dandy. But imagine him in the middle of this lineup if he is like batting third and Guerrero's batting cleanup. And then you figure out some sort of combination of Teoscar Hernandez, Randall Grichuk, Luis Gurriel, and Rowdy Tellez. It's not a bad combination because we know if Bo Bichette and Biggio should be at the top of the lineup. That's a really intimidating lineup. But the Astros are the Blue Jays, as we play for the Astros, are probably going to plug him in center field, expect him to be healthy all year to play center field, and bat him leadoff. When Biggio and Bichette have both batted leadoff pretty well for this team when they got the ability to get on base and have speed. Okay? And then the other news was that they had signed Michael Brantley, but that was all over the news. But then it was a psych, they got you, and Michael Brantley signed a 2-year deal with the Astros to stay with them. So Michael Brantley is probably going to play left field still for this team because they're hoping to get their Rookie of the Year DH back. Gurriel is staying, the older brother of the one we just talked about, Blue Jays. He's re-signed. He's going to play first base. So Tucker's probably going to play right field on this team. The real question is going to be, going forward, who's going to play center field? That's the question for the Astros. But Michael Brantley, keeping him with Reddick and Springer both being off the team, it's a good move to just keep Pat right there. Now, as I've said before, every year, I've been saying I've always wanted to be a baseball writer and cover it for any small publication, any company, it doesn't matter where they send me out to games, and I cover them. And I get to meet the players, and I get to know them, and I'm not expecting, I don't want an autograph that could be sold, they think, or a photo. I don't want anything out of them. I've always just wanted to meet these people, and I thought it would be cool to meet some of the legends of certain teams by going to big-time events or just working for the team. And COVID-19 may not have been the cause of death for a lot of the all-time baseball players who passed away last year in a short period of time, and this year Tommy Lasorda and Don Sutton recently, and Necro at the end of last year. It's the fact that this morning, one of the probably 3 greatest baseball players of all time, if you consider Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, and Willie Mays, probably be the 3 greatest players of all time. Hank Aaron passed away this morning at the age of 86. The dude wasn't, he's close to 90 years old, but he was 2 weeks shy of his 87th birthday, and it's not, you could say that's old, but it's just sad news because I thought maybe if I was covering it and I'd gone to games or even go to the All-Star week, the Hall of Fame weekend and cover that and meet people, I could finally meet a legendary player, that one of my dad's favorite baseball players. He was a 25-time All-Star. He won the World Series in 57 and won the MVP that year as well. He won 3 Gold Gloves, 2 batting titles, 4-time NL home run leader, and 4-time NL RBI leader. Both Milwaukee and Atlanta retired his number because he played in Milwaukee when they were the Milwaukee Braves before they went to Atlanta. So his number retired by both teams. He's in the Braves Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame wall of the Brewers. He made the All-Century team. And he also played in the Negro Leagues before they allowed players to play in there. At Super League Baseball, when they now saying the Negro Leagues are part of the Major League Baseball history, it stops at a certain point. So the home runs that he hit in the Negro Leagues would probably put him over the top, closer than he is now. Because anytime you have a lifetime 300 batting average, that's amazing. Anytime you have over 3,000 hits, that's great. But he has 3,771 hits. That's amazing. He has 755 home runs. Everybody knows that hallowed number. 714, 755. Him and Babe Ruth. And he has 2,297 RBIs. If you added the Negro League RBIs, he would be well over 3,000 RBIs. So 3,000 hits, 3,000 RBIs. More than 750 home runs if you had the Negro League and the 3 batting average. He's also the all-time leader in RBIs, total bases, extra base hits, and all-star appearances, and total bases. And he's obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's been just a very sad year, even though COVID-19 is not the actual cause for the deaths. It's just maybe a part of your life just being upended and not being the same and having this be so careful or chance to get other things if you already have a pre-existing condition. But rest in peace to Hank Aaron. Thanks for listening to another edition of MLB Hotstove of 2021 season. For On the Radar Entertainment Blog, I'm Raider. See you guys next time.